You're spending more taxpayer resources arresting journalists than you are prosecuting pedophiles and creeps. In fact, your boss, the President of the United States, stated that this administration, quote, took the freedom of speech away. And at your direction, DOJ has arrested Don Lemon and Georgia Fort. And I might add that y'all actually had a judge that rejected y'all for trying to arrest Don Lemon before, just like the grand jury rejected y'all as it relates to Senator Kelly, just like a grand jury rejected y'all as it relates to Senator Slotkin, just like the case against Tish James was dismissed and the case against Mr. Comey was dismissed. I completely don't get how it is that you're sitting at the top of DOJ because you don't seem to be good at your job. You're spending more taxpayer resources arresting these journalists. In fact, we know after Georgia Fort and Don Lemon were arrested, we know that there were homes of journalists that were raided. We know that threatened prosecution against students protesting your actions and forced tech companies to remove apps used to track ISIS activities. But let's circle back to you protecting pedophiles and creeps, because I want to talk about the president and his possible involvement with Jeffrey Epstein. Now, I don't know what the president might have done with Jeffrey Epstein, but unlike this administration, I believe that facts matter. So let's talk about the facts. Fact number one, Donald Trump is one of the most named people in the Epstein files. At least 5,000 files contains more than 38,000 references to Trump, his wife, or Mar-a-Lago. Fact number two, Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell made young girls available to Trump on multiple occasions. For example, according to this file, Ghislaine Maxwell presented a young girl to President Trump who spent more than 20 minutes apparently flirting with her. Here's another example. This shows notes from FBI investigators that describe Jeffrey Epstein transporting a victim to Mar-a-Lago to meet with President Trump, where he bragged to Trump that, quote, this is a good one. Now, I'm not saying that the president is a pedophile, but there is a lot of evidence in these files that suggests that he's very close friends with a lot of men who are pedophiles.
Ooh-wee. What's going on, everybody? It's your brother Nubreed coming through with another live stream. Peace and blessings to the chat. I see y'all rolling in. What's going on, Nee? Golden C is in the building. Tamika Buckley's in the house. What's going on, Tania? Sharon's in the building. Trudy Shepherd, yeah. Babylon is cooked. MAGA is in shambles. Jasmine Crockett, she just gave Pam Bondi that work. And I think she might be watching the content because I think she just called them weirdos and creeps. Y'all know how that intro go. You know, FBAs be exposing them weirdos and creeps. I see gladiators in the house. Yup. Man, I'm telling y'all, everything that's done in the dark is going to be brought to the light. We're witnessing a shift taking place right now. And these people who have been in power for so long, all of their corruption is coming out in plain sight. And we're going to be witnessing some changes. That's right. You know, judgment is coming to these evildoers. I'm telling y'all now. Y'all know how we do it. We got to get to it. We're going to be chopping it up. Make sure y'all get the likes up.
They working against us. They hate our souls. They hate us. They hate our righteous indignation. They hate the exhortation that dwells in us. They hate our love. They hate our conviction. They hate the fact that we repented. They hate the fact that we're truthful, honest, and bold. They hate our courage. Them devils hate us. We're not finna line ourselves up with these weirdos and freaks. With these weirdos and freaks. They working against us. They hate our souls. Weirdos and freaks. But these weirdos and freaks, they working against us. They hate our souls. Nubreed.
Ephesians 6:10. Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord, and in the power of his might put on the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Wherefore take unto you the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all, to stand. Stand therefore, having your loins girt about with truth, and having on the breastplate of righteousness, and your feet shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace. Above all, taking the shield of faith, wherewith ye shall be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked, and take the helmet of salvation, and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God, praying always with all prayer and supplication in the Spirit, and watching thereunto with all perseverance and supplication for all saints.
What's going on, y'all? We are back in full effect. Give it up for yourselves. Give it up for yourselves. Ladies and gentlemen, it's looking bad for these weirdos and freaks. The Most High is judging them. And I'm going to tell y'all something. Right now, we're in a season of restoration. You know, and I just feel compelled to say this before we even get started. Before we even get started with the broadcast here. Everything people are trying to take from you, brothers and sisters, or they have taken from you, the Most High God is going to restore you. And you got to have faith. All you got to do is stay obedient, keep your heart consecrated, you know, discipline yourself, do the things you got to do, and he will give you back everything that you are owed, everything that they taken from you. The enemy come to steal, kill, and destroy. But I just want to say, you know, that he's going to definitely restore. You know, he's going to restore. And I also want to say this before I start really getting into the topic. Right now, brothers and sisters, I'm going through a transformation, transition period rather. And, you know, man, headed to some positive places, about to do some real positive things, man. You know, it's a beautiful future that I'm looking at. And right now, you know, I am in the midst of transitioning. So if you can, brothers and sisters, and I never ask this. Anybody who has been subscribed to the platform for a number of time, y'all understand that I don't like to really ask y'all for much. All I ask y'all to do is get the likes up. But I am going to ask if you all, whoever can, during this time of transition, you know, making a lot of moves that are very important. And it's going to be good things. It's going to be good things I'm going to be able to display for you all, the people, as well. If you can, brothers and sisters, you know, hit my Cash App up. You know, I can use the help at the moment. And I don't really like to ask for stuff. You know, things may look a certain way, but you know, I'm gonna ask that, you know, Nubreed Global Truth, Cash App, $ Nubreed Global Truth. If I can have Tania share it in the chat, it would be highly appreciated. I rarely ask just anything that y'all can, you know, help out with. But other than that, we gotta chop it up. We gotta chop it up. And man, I'm telling you, MAGA is going through it. MAGA's going through it. I don't know if y'all caught the Pam Bondi trial. She got put on trial, y'all. We're going to talk about that first. And, you know, there's a lot of outrage. They're getting a lot of criticism right now on the internet because she lied under oath. She said that Trump was completely innocent. There was no evidence that substantiated that he was connected with that island and, you know, connected to those PDFs. And that's a blatant lie under oath. Blatant lie under oath. So, you know, bet your bottom dollar when everything hits the fan, you know, there's going to be a few of these key faces that's got to be sacrificial. They got to be the sacrifice for the whole collective, because that's what they do. They're going to throw a couple nuggets out there. They are going to throw a couple people under the bus when it hit. But I want to go to this. I want to go to Pam Bondi here. Hold on one moment. New. Yeah, the hearing was today, and the world is talking about it. So let's get to it. We're going to share our insight.
I'm going to show you two photos.
Thank you.
I'm going to show you two photos of former Prince Andrew. Prince Andrew attended various parties with Jeffrey Epstein. Under the law Congress passed, you were allowed to redact photos to protect the victims of Epstein's sex trafficking operation. You redacted the photos of this victim's face because you were following the congressional law. Is that correct?
I'm sorry that we redacted the victim's
Because you were
face?
following the congressional law, correct?
Yes.
Okay. You have now established that please put the photos back up, that we are looking at a sex trafficking victim. Under the Federal Victims Trafficking Protection Act, not only is Jeffrey Epstein guilty, but anyone who patronizes Epstein's sex operation is also guilty of a crime. That's why I find it absolutely despicable that you sought to protect Epstein's clients, like former Prince Andrew. Last July, you closed the case on Epstein's abusers. The July 2025 memo from your Department of Justice stated, quote, "We did not uncover evidence that could predicate an investigation against uncharged third parties." These two photos, please put the photos back up. These two photos staring you in the face are evidence of a crime and more than enough evidence to predicate an investigation against former Prince Andrew. So I ask you, Attorney General Pam Bondi, why did you shut down this investigation last July, and why have you not prosecuted former Prince Andrew?
I don't believe you asked Merrick Garland these questions when he was Attorney General and set before.
I agree with you.
You twice.
I'm reclaiming my
Did
time.
you? Never
I agree with
mentioned
you. I agree with you. During
Were
the
you not
Biden,
here
during
then?
the Biden administration, I called for people looking at Epstein files. Merrick Garland.
MAGA is in trouble. And you know what's crazy here? They always try to deflect back to the left and the Biden administration. But we all know that the DOJ was the ones holding back these files. So we know that the DOJ is in the pocket of Donald Trump. And it is what it is. I mean, why would Biden not want to release the files when so far it ain't too many people on the left really on there, except for Bill Clinton and a select few others. but they didn't release them. They didn't release them for a reason, because of the DOJ. But yeah, MAGA is definitely cooked. Yeah, you don't see Biden on the files. You don't see them on the files. So it is what it is, you know. But let's go.
Drop the ball, as did Attorney General Bill Barr, as did Alex Acosta, a whole string of failures. But you are in charge. You have the power to change things, to hold these men accountable, and you're doing the opposite. You're protecting them. So I want to move on to another man.
Can I answer
Donald
that,
Trump.
though?
I want to move on to another
Can I
question.
answer your question about protecting?
You answered the
Andrew?
question.
You're saying no. I love this.
I want to discuss another man, Donald Trump, who is all over the Epstein files, like former Prince. Here's the video. I want to know, were there any underage girls at that party or at any party that Trump attended with Jeffrey Epstein?
This is so ridiculous, and that they are trying to deflect from all the great things Donald Trump has done. There is no evidence that Donald Trump has committed a crime. Everyone knows that. This has been the most transparent presidency. He's the one that asked that those files
I'm reclaiming my time.
be
I got your
released.
answer. You said there's no
President
evidence.
Trump asked
Mr. Chairman,
that
please
they
stop the
sign
clock. Please stop the clock.
the legislation. This is
I'd like to
ridiculous.
take my time.
Time belongs to the gentleman from California.
Okay. I'm going to put up another document from a witness who called the FBI's National Threat Operations Center, because I believe you just lied under oath. There is ample evidence.
That's right. That's right. Pam Bondi is lying under oath. Like Hebrew Care just shared. And I want y'all to support Hebrew Care too. You know, go on NubreedGlobalTruth.com, support the work. But let me see. There was a scripture shared about how these people lie. I'm trying to highlight that, because that's a powerful verse right there. Isaiah 44:25. That frustrateth the tokens of the liars, and maketh diviners mad. That turneth wise men backwards, and maketh their knowledge foolish. That's right. See, all of these people have been lying, ducking, dodging, deflecting, and now it's going to all come out. So Pam Bondi is definitely lying under oath. She's lying under oath. Let's go.
I believe you just lied under oath. There is ample evidence in the Epstein file.
Don't you ever accuse me of a crime.
I believe you just lied under oath, and this is all on videotape. You said there's no evidence of a crime. I'm showing you. Here is a witness statement who called into the FBI's Threat Operations Center. He drove Donald Trump around in a limo. He overheard what Donald Trump said to Jeffrey on his cell phone. He was so angry, he was going to stop the limo and hurt Donald Trump. And he met a girl who said she was raped by Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein. She later had her head blown off, and officers at the scene said that could not have been suicide. No one at the Department of Justice interviewed this witness. You need to interview this witness immediately. Epstein should rot in hell, so should the men who patronized his operation. And as we say here today, there are over 1,000 sex trafficking victims, and you have not held a single man accountable. Shame on you. If you had any decency, you would resign right after this hearing concludes.
Man, I'm going to tell y'all right now, America is going to have to go in like Saudi Arabia is going in when they found one of their prime ministers attached to the files. They're going to have to ban the DOJ. I mean, you're going to have to protest the DOJ, the Trump administration. I mean, it's going to have to take some real public outrage to really make these people make something shake. I'm telling you, because it's like they're just dangling a carrot in front of everybody. You know, nobody's getting held accountable. You're looking at this huge data dump, and the data dump is designed to somewhat desensitize people to these heinous crimes. They're literally making pederasty and this sick behavior household knowledge. I mean, when I say household knowledge, I mean how it's making it so it's a desensitization mechanism in place. So you gotta understand these people are going to war with the minds. And the more we hear, the less we hear about accountability. The more we hear about what's going on in the files, the less we hear about arrests being made. So they're definitely playing a wicked game here.
Not held a single man accountable. Shame on you. If you had any decency, you would resign right after this hearing concludes.
The gentleman has expired.
May I respond?
Yeah, I don't know how you respond. No one can.
I did not
can
ask a
respond.
question, Ms.
He
Head.
doesn't
You're
want
allowed
to talk
to.
about
I did
the
not ask a
horrific
question.
crime in California. He does not want to talk about
I did not ask a
crime
question.
in his
She
state.
can't just
Madam Attorney
ad lib
General.
stuff. I did not ask a
Donald Trump.
question.
Meeting will be in order. The gentleman has yielded back his time. I think our next witness will be more than happy to let the Attorney General
Madam
respond.
Attorney General, would you like to?
Gentleman from Alabama is recognized for 5 minutes.
You have a few minutes to respond.
Thank you, Congressman. This is what Congressman Liu didn't want to talk about. He didn't want to talk about all the crime that is happening in his state. California refuses.
Look, she has a grin on her face, man. She just got cooked. She has a grin on her face. See, I want y'all to understand something. I'm going to point out the elephant in the room. It's staged. It's staged, ladies and gentlemen. I want y'all to just peep the smile, the grin she has on her face. They're actors, stage playing hypocrites. Look.
All the crime that is happening in his state.
That's a crazy response right there. Well, forget about these people getting ate over there on that island. All of the victims, she's laughing, smirking, talking about, well, you know, there's a lot of crime in your state. We talking about the biggest human trafficking network known to man, the Epstein files. And her rebuttal is, well, you got crime in your state. This is reality TV. Just like 50 Cent, not 50 Cent, but Ja Rule and G Unit fighting on a plane. That's staged. It's staged. That's the only, listen, I heard a lot of creators talking about Ja Rule and Tony Yayo going back and forth. Now, what is the chances of Tony Yayo being seated on a plane directly behind Ja Rule and they throwing pillows at each other and squaring up on a plane and TSA ain't locking nobody up? Come on now, pay attention. It's all a stage. As far as we know, they rented out a jet, got some crisis actors. Why? To keep what going on? To keep confusion, beef, back and forth going on. They do the same thing in the media. Yeah, they playing with the masses. This is all a game. You understand? And I'm going to shout out the Cashapps at the end of the broadcast. So at the end of this stream, I'm going to shout everybody out who decides to support. All right.
California refuses to honor detainees because of its dangerous sanctuary city policies. The refusal means California has released 4,561 criminal illegal aliens onto its street. The crimes of these aliens include 31 homicides, 661 assaults, 574 burglaries, 184 robberies, 1,489 dangerous drug offenses, 379 weapons.
And on the files, they're eating children. They're consuming children. Now, MAGA is a cult. Let's just call it for what it is. MAGA is a cult, ladies and gentlemen. And we got to talk about it. There was a father, a MAGA father, who recently exterminated his daughter, turned a firearm towards his daughter and ended her life because she disagreed with Trump. It was an argument regarding Trump. This is how serious this is. Now, I don't know if y'all heard that story, but I'm going to go ahead and enlighten you of that, because people are really losing their minds over this whole situation. They truly are. Oh, my bad. I wanted to share another one here. Yeah, this is madness. I've been telling you MAGA's a cult. They claim to be fundamental Judeo-Christians with values. They claim to be conservatives. No, they're not. No, they're not.
His 23-year-old daughter after what was described in court as a big argument about... A Texas father fatally shot his 23-year-old daughter after what was described in court as a big argument about President Trump. Lucy Harrison was visiting the U.S. from the UK with her boyfriend Sam Littler when the deadly incident unfolded inside her father's home in Prosper, Texas. Littler later testified the father and daughter had a big argument about President Trump. The dispute began when Lucy pressed her dad about an unspecified hypothetical scenario involving a woman who had been sexually assaulted. Lucy allegedly asked her father, "How would you feel if I was the girl in that situation and I'd been sexually assaulted?" According to Littler, her father responded it wouldn't upset him much because he had 2 other daughters living with him. This allegedly left Lucy quite upset, and she then stormed upstairs. Hours later, just before she was set to leave to the airport, her father, Chris Harrison, took her into his bedroom and showed her a Glock handgun. Seconds later, a gunshot. Lucy was shot in her chest and later died from injuries. Chris told the police, "As I lifted the gun to show her, I suddenly heard a loud bang. I did not understand what had happened. Lucy immediately fell." He admitted he had been drinking and said he couldn't recall if his finger was on the trigger. A Collin County grand jury declined to indict him, meaning he will not face any criminal charges. An inquest in the UK is still ongoing.
Wow. It's a cult that sticks together, and they all in agreement. We wonder why a lot of this wickedness is able to fly, because you have a satanic cabal that's in agreement. They talking about he's about to walk. Babylon is truly falling. Babylon is truly falling. I'm telling you. These people get that MAGA battery in their back. They lose their minds. Defending pederasty and grape, and man, Revelations 18:2. And if y'all feel compelled, led by the Spirit, y'all make sure y'all share some scriptures in the chat. Salute to Hebrew Care. They are sharing the word, and that's what we need right now. Revelations 18:2, saying Babylon the Great is fallen, and has become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and every cage unclean bird. Absolutely. And we see it. America is cracking from the seams, brothers and sisters. Why? Because of the evil that they continue to hide without consequence. Now you have a young lady who literally was killed by her own father, all because she disagrees with grape. Telling you. I'm telling you. Yeah, they are in unison and agreement. That's why I'm telling y'all, man, you got to be wise out here, brothers and sisters. I would honestly say keep your political thoughts to yourself, whether you at the workplace, wherever you may be. Keep your political opinions to yourself. So, as you can see in that situation, that's a household completely divided just simply based on political views. And now it ain't about right and wrong. It's about right or left. You mean to tell me in this father's warped mind, if the daughter is against grape or SA, in his mind, she's against MAGA, she's against the cult, she's against the movement just for speaking up against SA. That's some serious programming. That is cult I mean, I'm talking about that as cult psychosis. That is some demonic stuff right there. And we're gonna look a little bit more into this story too, because it's sick, man. Let me see. Yeah, we got to get to it. Got to get to it. Y'all know what it says: a land divided cannot stand. You got a whole system divided here. Let's hear this commentary. I'm going to chime in. We're going to get a little bit more info on this.
Kills his daughter over an argument about Trump. Put up the victim. A MAGA dad fatally shot his own daughter after arguing about Donald Trump. A Trump supporter shot and killed his own daughter during an argument about Trump. The victim you're looking at was 23 years of age, named Lucy Harrison. Lucy Harrison. This is her dad, Chris Harrison. This is a disturbing and difficult story. The man shot his daughter at his home in the United States after the pair had an argument about Donald Trump.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, MAGA is not under attack from the outside. It's collapsing from within. What we watching right now is not opposition pressure coming from the left. No, no, no. It's internal. Who took out Charlie Kirk? MAGA. Who has been doing these mass shootings on churches, you know, and I'm talking about white churches, white Christian nationalist churches, MAGA. You know why? Leadership has lost credibility. The public trust is eroding, man. Nobody is really putting their faith in these politicians. And now the whole movement is just chaotic. And every time they get interviewed, just looking at how Bondi react, they always defensive. They always name calling. You know that. Look, you got to look at who their leader is. You know, Donald Trump. Every time he's questioned, what do? He start hurling insults, name calling. And the reason they doing that is because their whole illusion of control is really just slipping away right now. And people can feel it. You know, when you looked at Bondi and how tense she was, you know, although we know that there's some acting going on there, but we know they doing, you know, cinematic gymnastics. All of the public confrontations we see, they really under oath. Yep. Yeah, they got limited vocabulary, so they got to hurl insults and all of that. You know, Donald Trump, listen, the country being led by a mental midget. A mental midget. You know, it ain't no confidence when all you do is deflect. You know, at the same time, this case right here, this is tragic, man. This lady's own father took her out. Now, what kind of ideology, political ideology is this? Anyway, let's continue.
Lucy Harrison, a fashion buyer from Warrington in Cheshire, had been staying with her father, Chris Harrison, and his family in Dallas, Texas, suburb of Prosper, when she died. Now, before I get into what she said, that is alleged as cause and effect here, I want to make this point. I couldn't imagine, as a father, doing something so extreme to anybody I love, in particular my daughter. I've never even raised my voice at my daughter in my life. Don't have it in me. Love her too much. For this to happen, it gives us an idea of the radicalization that has taken place inside of MAGA world.
Exactly. MAGA is MAGA is radical. 1 Peter 3:9, not rendering evil for evil or railing for railing, but contrariwise blessings, knowing that ye are thereunto called, that ye shall inherit a blessing. And that is a very timely scripture, because we got to understand the importance of keeping our composure during conflict. You know, we're in a time right now where a lot of things are happening all of a sudden. And, you know, you got to be able to make sure you're not matching people's energy these days. And, you know, you just got to. Real 80 says, wish your Cash App. Thanks for the work you've been doing, bro. Yes, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go ahead and share that on the screen because, you know, I don't too much ask for much. But like I said, I'm going through a transition. You know, positive things are happening, you know, gradually, you know, making a big move that's going to, you know, benefit everyone. So, you know, I would appreciate the support. That's right. Isaiah 5:20. Woe unto them that call evil good and good evil, that put darkness for light and light for darkness, and put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. Right? Because you're living in a time where somebody will argue with you whether or not SA is righteous or not. You got people talking about what age is appropriate and, you know, making these egregious claims. Like you got Nick Fuentes, he's going full-blown Epstein, where they're trying to really make SA to minors acceptable. This is what these demonic MAGA folks are doing. This is what these white supremacists are pushing. So much so it's even showing up in middle America that if their daughters speak out against it, they're going to take them out and get away with it. Listen, this is the key part. They get away with it. And honestly, me calling MAGA a cult is really underscoring it. MAGA is more like a militia, a personal army with diplomatic immunity. Because MAGA comprise of ICE. They comprise of a few facets. And believe it or not, all of them are MAGA. Nick Fuentes, all of them are MAGA. Even though they may bicker among each other, they like the mob. They all white supremacists. And if they go with the agenda, and they can wipe people out and get away with it, obviously.
There's no joke about cult-like activity or them being a cult, because this is cultist behavior, for sure, right? For sure. Is Trump going to say anything against this individual who has been alleged to do something so harmful to his own daughter?
Right. Trump is not going to make any public statements about this situation at all. And this is why the Most High got to step in and judge this cult. I'm telling you, this wasn't just something that happened at like a political rally or some type of protest. No, this happened in somebody's household. You telling me whatever the MAGA ideology is, it bleeds into family relationships to the point where all emotional regulation just collapses. Something has gone very wrong with this country. And no talking point can explain this away. So they're not going to really address it. No talking point can explain this away. What do you say about this? You can't holler self-defense. This didn't happen out in the streets with ICE. This happened in the house. Like, why is this not posted all over mainstream media? Why is it that only a select handful of content creators is actually covering this story? Why is that? Ecclesiastes 8 and 11. The spirit is moving. Thank y'all for sharing the scriptures. It says, because sentence against evil and evil work is not executed speedily, therefore the hearts of the sons of men is fully set in them to do evil. That's right. Because there is no correction, immediate correction, then therefore, the hearts of the sons of men, which the hearts of the sons of men are Satan's children. They fully set in them to do evil, fully set in them to do evil. And y'all got to understand that these devils are everywhere, and they communicate among each other. They know each other, just like us who are chosen by the Most High can see each other and real recognize real. It's the same thing with these folks on the other hand side, on the left hand side. And eventually it's just going to be a great divide. And everybody's heart is going to be tested. But the sad part about that is we're outnumbered, which shows that the Most High is truly a powerful God, because although we outnumbered, we still surviving through this wicked world, this wicked, racist, bigoted, demonic society. Zechariah 11 and 5, whose professors slay them, and hold themselves not guilty. And then, wow, this one hit. Let's read this again. Whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty. And they that sell them say, blessed be the Lord, for I am rich, and they own shepherds. Pity them not. Yeah, they're using the arm of the law, the so-called justice system, as their weapon. They can admonish themselves in their bloody murder. That's why I said, man, the world without white supremacists would be a utopia, because you got people who have enriched themselves off the backs of the people. And now they think it's okay to just murder in cold blood individuals and then admonish themselves. I'm telling you. Jason G, he shares another one. We cooking right now, y'all. Ecclesiastes 8 and 13. But it shall not be well with the wicked, neither shall be prolong his days, which are as a shadow because he feareth not before God. Yes, judgment is going to come to these people. Tracy Henry, thank you for the support. And for everybody who's supporting on Cash App, I am going to shout y'all out at the end, one by one, whoever decides to support. And y'all are highly appreciated. Let me see. Let's see. Let me hear what Angela has to say. Angela says, you sound like a complete joke. Just like the Democratic Party trying to use Bible and black leaders to cover the eyes of many. They call you Uncle Tom. You are the biggest, the black American. You are the biggest, the black American. I don't know. This must be this Tether talk. Sounds like Tether talk to me. I'm gonna go ahead and do you a favor. Yeah, I'm gonna do you a favor. Matter of fact, Tania, let's do this sister a favor. Yeah, we don't do the disrespect. We don't do the disrespect. But this is the thing, right? Yo, hey, listen, every time you speak in that truth, folly shall soon come. Folly shall soon come. And for the record, we don't do the Democratic thing over here. We don't do the Republican thing over here. We do free thinking. We're not battling between left and right. We're battling with what's right, what's wrong. No, we're not battling with what's right or wrong. We differentiate what's right and wrong. And I believe it's wrong. I believe it's wrong for, this young lady to lose her life because her father has been indoctrinated to the point where he believes SA is appropriate. He believes he believes SA is the American way. Great pillage and destroy is the American way. And because his daughter pushed back for whatever reason, he thought it was okay to take her life. And what the media is showing is it was okay because he's getting away with it. So now what they just did was they just blew a dog whistle. See, let me explain what's going on in Middle America right now. They're trying to get everybody on the same page. That is a message. The message is, if y'all push back against what we want to do, you are expendable. We will take you out. We will rule in fear. We will rule using fear. And that's what they're doing. They showed you examples of that when they took out Alex Preddy, and they took out the other lady. I can't remember her name right now. I'm telling you.
Well, what cult leader would? A man shot his daughter at his home in the U.S. Police in the town investigated. They investigated the 23-year-old's death as possible manslaughter. They're not disputing. It's okay, possibly manslaughter. But no criminal case was brought against Mr. Chris Harrison.
They didn't even indict this man, Chris Harrison. A grand jury in Collin County declined to even indict him. You know what that means? He got diplomatic immunity. That means, listen, this story got right. It seems like this story went right to the White House because, they didn't even indict him. Yeah, the lady that got killed, her name was Renee Good. Let me be respectful of the young lady that was taken out in front of her home. They didn't even indict him. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is where the conversation gets a little bit uncomfortable. When political identity becomes someone's entire sense of self, disagreement stops being debate and it starts feeling like betrayal. Their political connections or what they subscribe to determine their entire existence. And if you don't believe what they believe, you have betrayed them in the worst ways possible. This is how programmed they are. And I'm believing that Chris Harrison has some kind of connections. I really believe that if we do our research, if we dig a little bit, we'll find out that he's connected to somebody. Because these white supremacists, they literally get brainwashed, and they're pretty confident doing the things they do for a reason. They know that they can get away with it. You know? When somebody start feeling like it's betrayal, when somebody disagree with them, anger is going to replace all reasoning. I'm telling you. That anger is going to make people just lose all morality. Eventually, people stop seeing other people as actual human beings, even their own family. And they start seeing them as straight up enemies. That is a psychological fracture. When somebody can't actually disagree with you without you becoming their enemy, or they can't disagree with you without them making you an enemy. I'm telling you.
After a grand jury in Collin County declined to indict him. Remember, grand jury proceedings are top secret. We don't know what was said, what was presented, or how it was specifically presented to that grand jury. There's more. The Cheshire Coroner's Court in England began investigating the shooting after a criminal case was not pursued by the American state, Texas. Here's what was found.
Texas is a big MAGA state, man. That's a big MAGA state right there. It's just plain old demonic. Plain old demonic. Let's go.
An inquest into Lucy Harrison's death opened earlier at Cheshire's Coroner's Court, where her boyfriend, Sam Littler, described the, quote, big argument about Trump, who was preparing to be inaugurated for a second term of office. Littler, who traveled to the U.S. with Lucy Harrison for the holiday, said she would often become upset with her father when he spoke about owning a gun. The inquest also heard how Chris Harrison, who moved to the United States when his daughter was a child, had previously been to rehab for alcohol addiction. Chris Harrison, who did not attend the inquest or the investigation.
And see, he's not even originally from the States, you know? And that's interesting, because it seemed like when there's people coming over here that's not from the States and they align themselves up with Trump, he will respect them no matter the race. And we see that with Nicki Minaj. You know, she's coming from Trinidad. You know, long as it pushes his agenda, he doesn't mind giving them some type of immunity. Why? Because they want to weaponize tethers, weaponize all of these different groups against none other than us. That's how it goes. I see you brothers and sisters sharing on the super chat, and I appreciate y'all. But I would actually prefer that y'all use Cashapp this evening. It would be highly appreciated. And I'm going to read these. And in case you don't know, the Cashapp is just Nubreed Global Truth. One word. $ Nubreed Global Truth. Old School Rules says the phrase anger resteth in the bosom of fools comes from Ecclesiastes 7 and 9. Absolutely. Yep. They lose all inhibitions. And there's no recourse. Yep. Thank you, God's Property, for the support, says Nubreed. God bless your journey. You deserve the Most High's blessings. Absolutely. I appreciate that. Yep. All right, let us continue.
Admitted in a statement sent to the court that he had relapsed on the day of the shooting and had drunk about 500 milliliters of white wine. Littler said on the morning of January 10th, his partner had asked her father during the Trump row, how would you feel? This means argument. How would you feel if I was the girl in that situation and I'd been sexually assaulted? End quote. Chris Harrison, the father, had replied that he had 2 other daughters who live with him, so he would not be upset. It would not upset him that much.
That is disgusting. He got 2 other daughters, so that would not upset him that much, meaning because he has some type of discord or some issue with the daughter who's pushing back, her life doesn't matter. Soon as he said that, she basically heard everything she needed to hear to see that that's the devil standing in front of her. If you listen close enough, people will tell you exactly who they are. That's like saying, look, your life actually don't matter. You are expendable. And when you are in this MAGA cult and there's pushback, that person becomes the enemy. They're expendable. They got to go. They're threatening the movement. This is the way these extremists look at it. They threatening the movement. I'm going to tell y'all right now, a lot of us who are just in the truth intelligence community, who bring a lot of things to the light. Look, we are threatened. Pardon me. We are a threat to the movement. I'm telling you. Let's go.
Littler said Lucy became quite upset, ran upstairs. I'm sure she was crying.
So she ran upstairs. So it looked like the father actually pursued her. Like it wasn't enough to break her spirits. It wasn't enough to make her, cry. No, he at this point, he was bloodthirsty. At this point, it's like, I dare you disagree with my political views. And we shouldn't even be a talk about political views, but they have politicized grape. I'm telling you. See, when people say MAGA is in shambles, they're not exaggerating. They're just observing the symptoms, man. On one end, you got leadership, credibility issues. On the other, emotional volatility. Pardon me, emotional volatility. Pardon me. It's a lot of breakdowns happening. Gladiator says Nubreed, what's the Cash App? Nubreed Global Truth, just like on the channel. Nubreed Global Truth, $ Nubreed Global Truth. Thank you. Let's go.
The inside, if not on the inside and outside. He told the court that later that day, about half an hour before they were due to leave to go to the airport, Lucy had been in the kitchen when her father took her by the hand, led her into his ground floor bedroom. Littler said he heard a loud bang about 15 seconds later, and then Chris Harrison screamed for his wife, Heather. Littler said, quote, I remember running into the room and Lucy was lying on the floor near the entrance of the bathroom. And Chris was just screaming this sort of nonsense, end quote.
Wow. This is horrible. So Littler said he heard a loud bang about 15 seconds later. Then Chris Harrison screamed for his wife, Heather. I remember running in the room and Lucy was lying on the floor. So it looks like he's off the break. He blacked out. He don't remember what happened. That's when, and also, you know, when it comes to alcohol, man, moderation is key. Moderation is key. And they call it wine and spirits for a reason. Wine and spirits for a reason. He don't remember what happened. He didn't, but what happened was all the visceral animosity that was really in him came out. Yeah, this is definitely a tragedy. That was a young lady, man. It's a real sad situation. It really is. You know, and this can't be about the left anymore. You really can't spin this. They can't sit up and say, you know, the left is extremist. No, this happening in-house. This is what happens when a movement loses a moral anchor. You have no moral leadership. You have no righteous leadership. So what happened? The moral compass is pretty much replaced with rage, fear, blind alliances. And see, history always shows us this pattern. You know, collapses, they don't just announce themselves, it reveals itself. There's a psychological fracture in America, and it's because of white supremacy. Let's go.
Now I'm going to get into the cover-up. Once again, I'm reminding you, because the Texas grand jury decided not to indict, and there was no investigative prowess by the Texas authority, another country decided to make an inquest into this, given the family's domicile in Cheshire. This is the reason we have evidence on record, because of their investigation, not because of the investigation in Texas. Just want to remind everybody. Her father tried to cover it up according to the investigation. The statement from Chris Harrison said, she said he and his daughter had been watching a news item on gun crime when he told her he had a gun and asked if she wanted to see it. They went into the bedroom so he could show her a Glock 9mm semi-automatic handgun, which he kept in the bedside cabinet. Harrison.
Wow. Wow. So y'all see it? Y'all see how they spent it? So basically he's saying that, you know, he just showed her the gun. He didn't know his finger was on the trigger. It went off. No, not after just verbally saying your life don't matter. If you was to get SA'd, I got other daughters. Right after that, conveniently, she wanted to go see a gun you had. Conveniently, she's like, yo, let me see the 9mm. This is what this man told her, and there was no indictment. This is what he told the Texas law enforcement, and there was no indictment. Wow. Crazy, crazy times.
Said he had bought the gun a couple of years before because he wanted a, quote, sense of security for his family. Chris Harrison said, quote, as I lifted the gun to show her, I suddenly heard a loud bang. I did not understand what had happened. Lucy immediately fell. Harrison said he could not recall whether his finger was on the trigger. He acknowledged he had issues with alcohol in the past and said he, quote, briefly lapsed, end quote, on the day of his daughter's death because he was emotional about her leaving.
Wow. and they bought this story. You know, what's dangerous about moments like this is not just the headline, it's what's being normalized. Right now, we got all the world leaders dodging accountability. You got a lot of their followers excusing everything because they loyal to the damn movement. And see, movements like this really train people to abandon their consciousness. And really, they're just searching for identity. Right becomes whatever protects the group. Wrong becomes whatever threatens the group. And that's how most people think. It ain't about truth anymore. It's about let's protect our group. You know, the lines are blurred, man. And now anything can be justified. The way they did Alex Pretty, they did Alex Pretty dirty. They did him dirty, man. But they always find a way to justify it. Let's go.
At the conclusion of the 2-day hearing at Cheshire Coroner's Court, Senior Coroner Jacqueline Devonish found Harrison, quote, knew full well he had shot his own daughter, pointing a gun at chest height and pulling the trigger, end quote. She ruled Lucy died due to unlawful killing on the grounds of gross negligence, manslaughter. Let's back up just for a moment, because
now he didn't even get indicted on gross negligence manslaughter. He didn't even get indicted for that.
even if you believe the dad's account, that is still considered murder in the United States of America. You don't get to cite being drunk if you drove drunk, got a DUI, and committed manslaughter. Killed.
That's right. In America, you going down for murder. More than likely second degree.
Somebody. You don't get to cite, well, I relapsed, as immunity or an affirmative defense from criminal prosecution. No more than you get to do that in this case.
Right. I mean, listen, they got diplomatic protection, man. Diplomatic immunity, I mean. You know? Now in the middle of America, everybody home gonna become the pressure cooker. We all seeing it. It's always a lot of emotional exhaustion in middle America, man. Right now it's looking crazy. It's constant outrage, constant crisis happening in the middle of America. And I'm just surprised that Trump ain't really saying nothing about this. Trump ain't got nothing to say about this. You would think he would calm these MAGA supporters down who out here doing stuff like this. Man, it's crazy.
Based on the way the law worked, but based on the way law enforcement worked, he was able to do so. There's more. In a statement issued by his solicitors, Lucy's dad, Mr. Harrison, said, quote, I fully accept the consequences of my action. And there isn't a day I don't feel the weight of that loss, a weight I would carry for the rest of my life. There is no dispute that he killed his daughter, none. And I know that nothing I say can ease the heartbreak this tragedy has caused. I cannot undo what happened, but I can honor Lucy by being the best father I can be to her sisters and by carrying her memory forward in everything we do. I am deeply sorry for the pain others feel from this tragedy. Lucy's spirit, her warmth, her humor, her kindness will live in all of us who loved her. Miss Harrison's mother, Jane Coates, said her daughter, who worked for fashion brand Boohoo, was a real force of life. She said she cared. She was passionate about things. She loved to have debates about things that meant a lot to her. She was a beacon of light.
So she liked to debate. And, you know, nowadays you couldn't even debate her own family. Couldn't even debate her own family.
She was a beacon of light who died while preaching the gospel of truth.
Now, a real president, a real leader, a real man of God would address the nation because of such a tragedy like this one. And he would preach a message of togetherness and unity, and he would shun bigotry at all costs, and he would have a call for togetherness with all people. And he would also condemn SA. That's what a real leader would do. He would condemn SA, and he would make sure that that's not defending SA is not attached to their group and organization. He would make sure. But no. See, this is why discernment matters more than ever. Because right now, the collapse is coming. And it ain't going to just be sirens and headlines, you know. Some of these collapses, they come real quietly. And it happens through distrust, paranoia, emotional instability. And that's spreading through all the communities in America. When a movement stops producing peace, clarity, and restraint, it's going to produce confusion, division, destruction. Look, America has already failed. It has already failed.
To her own father. Still, Texas authorities have launched no additional investigation. And according to our last inquiry, there is no indictment pending against the father. Senator, thoughts?
I mean, you just summed it up. That tells us all we need to know as of today about how Texas feels about Lucy's death. And certainly my condolences go to her family. I can't be in the heart of the mind of the father. And you read what he had to say. The man killed his own daughter. And very trivial. You know, I mean, you don't want to see a family get into a fight of this nature and somebody end up dead regardless. But this, over President Trump, and I would say the same thing over any president, any political figure. What in the world? This is madness. And if these kinds of emotions over politicians or politics or politicians, these level of emotions are evoked to this level, then that should tell us that everything is wrong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. She said it. When it gets this serious, something is extremely wrong. MAGA is a satanic cult. MAGA is demonic all the way around. And you could tell because all it does is, produce corrupted fruit. That's all it does. You got to judge the tree by its fruit.
Because in no way on God's green earth. I mean, I know people who haven't even talked to relatives for the last 10 years over politics, less known shots fired.
That's true. A lot of families have split up. It started around 2020, man. It seems like as time moves forward, it gets more severe, man. The political divide and tension becomes worse. And none of the presidents are really doing a good job trying to bring people back together. It's like they're more so promoting it. Why? They want the people in confusion and moral disarray. They want the people divided. Why? Divide and conquer. Divide and conquer. That's right. It's really a depopulation agenda. Proverbs 17 and 15. He that justifieth the wicked, and he that condemneth the just, even they both are abominations to the Lord. That's right. That's right. When you justify wickedness and you condemn the just, you're an abomination to the Most High. And that's exactly what's happening.
Over a politician? Really? It's madness. Doc,
Yeah.
this is total and utter madness.
The politician has successfully transcended politics in the minds of his followers.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So much so that they'll shoot somebody over him while debating over, let's say, their own faith and being okay with their debate and your opinion, but not okay with your opinion about Trump. Okay. We'll bring updates if there's an.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Man. Sad story. Sad story. But, we got to stay out the way. Make sure you move wise out here. Got to move wise. I'm going to do some shout outs here. Ladies and gentlemen, don't let these people get y'all in no political back and forths. Don't let these people do it to you. You got to be wise out here. You never know what people really be thinking. All right. So I'm going to start these shout outs. First and foremost, shout out Elder Darren Israel King. My elder right there. That's family right there. I'm seeing some familiar faces. Shout out to House of Uwitazah. That's my brother, right-hand man. Yep. Also, ladies and gentlemen, what I'm shouting out is the Cashapp. And thank y'all for helping. Let's continue here. Alvin Beard, salute to you, man. Salute to you. Shaylee, what's going on? Salute to you. Love. Sean Bonner, thank you for the support. I appreciate you. Patricia Boston, thank you. A lot of familiar faces. Michael Seeley, salute to you. And Jalen Thomas, salute to you. And I'm not going to say the amount because, anything matters. Any contribution matters. So like I said at the beginning of the stream, I got this transition going on in life right now. And some great things, some beautiful works are in the making, y'all. Some beautiful things. There's a lot of good developments coming for the future. And it's looking up. It's looking bright for the future. And so, but sometimes in life you get in these transition periods and you may need a little bit of help. You may need a little bit of help along the journey. And then, this is not something I too much ask for, but this stream, it would be appreciated. If you've been a long time viewer, if you've been someone who has gained a lot of edification, keep in mind the Bible tells you that charity covers the multitude of sins. And, myself, the whole team, the family, we've been more than charitable to people. And we are a testament that truly works, just being there for people. So being charitable to me, I'm always giving back because as much as given, as much as required. All right. As much as given, as much as required. But man, it's been an honor and a blessing building with y'all as always. And I've been moving around here and about, so I'm going to be getting some really good rest. And I want to thank everybody, who tapped in. And we're going to be building. I got a lot of motivation for y'all coming in the near future. Y'all going to be seeing me do some uploads, this week that's going to really be just transformative. And we're gonna stay in the spirit. And I want everybody to have a blessed rest of y'all week. Y'all stay safe out there. One love to y'all, everybody who supported and everybody who's viewing. Y'all make sure y'all like, share. And if you're new to the channel, welcome. Peace, y'all.